This museum series video is going to be a lot of fun. Check this out. Not just this layout, which is Beaver Point, but it's the same land area. And look at this. I have just thrown these up here based on the 2 to 3 different land areas that are right in the vicinity. Now there is a road that runs right up here, here out in the county. But Beaver Point's on one side, and up here represents one side of the road, the lookout, and we're going to take a look at those. Look at this. And I actually have them laid out in the field where I found these points. Think about these things. It's really cool. So I got these laid out, museum quality, right where I found them in the field. And these, again, this is the lookout right here, the other side of the road for the lookout, including this hafted point that Mike hafted for me, which is looking sweet. Of course, that goes right on past this fantastic hammerstone. Great find at the lookout. Only hammerstone I've ever found there, and up to his work on the, get that out of the way, excuse me, his work on the turkey feathers. Great stuff. All the way down here to the point. But this is the lookout here, and they're laid out where I found them, so we'll get some close-ups on that, which is really fun, across the field. Again, right here, a road going down. And then the bottom here is what I call the jump-off. Some of these have been found recently, others not. I mean, look at these pieces. Just great stuff. So I'm going to give you a tour of it. I'm going to start down here at the jump-off, and I'm going to jump right down the road, and I'm going to go to the lookout. They're laid out where I found them, and then I'm going to go across the street on the upper part of the lookout, and we're going to finish up with Beaver Point. Cool. I don't know, it just came to me an idea where I found them in the field, but check this point out. Way up at the end of the jump off is a great point right here. It's fairly large, one of my favorites. I guess I have a lot of favorites, we all do. But here in eastern North Carolina, this is the coastal Piedmont area. They just were making some great artifacts. Love that. This one next is on video recently, but it's pretty much vein quartz. And we've seen this, so I won't take a whole lot of time with it, but it's a sharp piece, nice piece. Right near there, now I found these in the same place, right near there I found this one, which has always been unique to me. It might be a little homey, but I don't think so. It's sort of a sugar quartz variety. They've thinned it on the back here, you can see that, coming right down. But to document these, I think it's pretty fun. Out there on the big, huge areas, approximately where I found them, I mean, look at this. Crazy. Morrow Mountain. How big is it? This is on film, but this is huge and unbelievable. Although this is this big, you wouldn't believe, as Richard had a video just recently with that stone, this is that light stuff too. It's unbelievably light. Not because it's thin either, it's fairly thick. It's hardy. Either eastern bison, they were finishing off, or earlier. Could have been a mammoth killer, gosh knows, who knows. But that's a flat out big piece, and a nice piece. It was sitting up just as pretty as that when I found it one day. And here's a piece of smoky quartz that's just fantastic. At the jump off. And then look at this triangle. Oh, we have good light for it. If you'll notice, it's slightly indented on each end here where the hafting was. But the way they built this, it's work right off the back. It is not ground, but every part of it is just made to order. So that's the jump off. Oh, my focus, excuse me. Right out there where I found them. Now if I went down the road and up the road and then went into another field, it's a place I call the lookout. Of course I found this point that's hafted there, as I mentioned. It's a stem point. My focus working? There we go. And down at the bottom on the outside of the field, where I always usually start, this was an interesting piece of rhyolite. Then a couple of old pieces of rhyolite here. Look at these. Big red tip point. Some of these a while ago, 2-3 years ago, maybe around film or what have you, but really interesting type of Guilford point there, old point. Just keep that because it's so unique. Way, way across the field on the other side, top corner. I couldn't even get it far enough out. I found this, but it's really the only artifact I found out there after going many times. Moved further in, and I found this LaCroix. I found another rhyolite LaCroix very similar to this right close by it. Then funny, 20 yards over or so, I started finding these rhyolite marl mountains. Of course, very similar to this other one across the field. But those were nice. Great workmanship. Now, if I went back over into the side of the field, middle of the field, some workmanship like this. Great stuff. At the lookout. And then at the bottom, it's sort of a hill. I found this little guy. Not too sure if it's a drill. I guess it's debatable, but it's a definitely sweet artifact. And then we're talking about a projectile point, an atlatl dart. The good old Guilford, which was a great find there. Then, coming towards the road, look at these. Piece of sugar quartz. Let's see if I can get the lighting better. And this really, I don't know if it's doing justice, was a fantastic piece. Gray. Down at the bottom, a couple of smokers from the lookout. You can see why it'd be a good place to get back out there, you know. But then, when I'm looking at my site documentations, the artifacts from different sites, because this is really, as we're getting back here, if I can get the focus in, if you see this layout, all of these are pretty much for the same land area. It's multiplied acres, though, that's for sure. But you got to find the sweet spots, you know. Look at these, the lookout across the street. Why not, right? Nice Guilford with the cortex on it. From the lookout still. These two found right close to each other. You know, you never forget where you make a find, which is funny. Maybe it's because I've been collecting for such a short amount of time. And then up across, this rod sort of represents a little dirt farm road. There were these. Way up across. And we're talking about some land mass that you're looking at. But some sweet finds. Look at this piece of rhyolite. Another sweet piece of rhyolite with it. That's about 2 inches long right there. And then some flint. It's about 1.5 inches. So the lookout really just served me well. And of course in that same field was that perfectly round, smoking hammerstone. Biscuit, right? Then if I went back out on the road, down the road, and off the road, we're going to find Beaver Point, probably because right here there's a big pond. But Beaver Point, now when this stuff is laid out, was putting out, if I can get myself in a good position, excuse me, as you can see, has been putting out some of the most smokers. Now granted, remember, it's about 7 times. I found about 7 times as much artifacts that just didn't get into my favorites box, my display box. Let's look at these. The field laid out, I found this one way in the back and the top. Just an incredible piece altogether. From Beaver Point. All of these, Site 5E, that has many, many great areas. But definitely not easy to get to. I have to run miles just to get there. There's no place to park. It's all the areas around there are private property. I found this one way on the outside of the field, pretty much towards the road, which is a little teeny piece of quartz. Couldn't leave it there, right? Now, if I skip over here, going on the other side of the field, these are incredible little marl mountains. Just look at the workmanship on this smoky quartz. Some craftsmen, some masters there. I mean, this piece of rhyolite might be the smokingest rhyolite marl mountain I have. Beaver Point. It's warm in here, my hands are red. Moving right up across the field, 30 yards away, these came in. I think these two came in on the same day, which, I mean, that's a sweet day as it is. I mean, look at that. So as I finish up here, I don't want to get cut off in my time. Definitely desirable trait that a lot of people like to see, the thinning, and it's on both sides in the serration. Just crazy stuff, right? Gotta love that. That's a good setup. Little drill. And then I found this marl mountain on this side of the field. It's a really sturdy piece. Great piece. See how thick it is? But just strong and ready to go. Just like a fighter jet. It is green as green can be when it's wet. And then these came in the other day. Pretty much new from Beaver Point. Beaver Point hadn't been ready in a long time. I mean to tell you, you just got to have some patience sometimes. Patience that lasts a half a year. But I went out there and was able to grab a hold of this, which has become just a favorite piece for me. Just a really great piece. I don't know if my focus is working on this. Love it. Right in the field there. And then right down the way, further out, was this. As we've seen a lot of that. But just really great stuff together. And that's the lineup. I mean, that's where I found them out in the field. Pretty cool. And so looking at all this, this is really the jump off and the lookout land area, as well as Beaver Point, all in one area. I thought that'd be pretty cool. From up here, it just looks crazy. It looks like fish swimming around. But that's what I'm talking about. The earth is full. For all of these, there's 1,000 times this much underneath the ground. I'm guaranteeing it. Just crazy stuff. Well, on behalf of the North American Indian, thank you for tuning into Indian Trace. And I appreciate these museum series and people tuning in and checking it out. And that right there, that's Indian Trace. See if I can get these in. Hope you find out there as the spring comes. Hope for rain for everybody. Have a good one.